Hello, I'm Kieran at KWSA English, and welcome to this week's video on English vocabulary. This week we look at 6 words and phrases that have been used on social media. We help you to pronounce, define, and use examples with these words. So, let's get started with number 1. Hello and welcome to lesson 26. So in this week's lesson, we look at 6 more words and phrases from social media. So let's look at the first one. And this one is angling. Now what is angling, I wonder? Well, let's quickly take a look at the definition. This is the sport of fishing with a long stick, line, hook, and bait, which is fish food. Most people go angling at lakes or the sea. So there we have it with the definition. So, as ever, let's learn even more by looking at an example. The father and son went angling at the local lake. They were delighted to catch 12 fish in one afternoon of angling. The second word we have for you this week is recycling. Now this is a long word, but let's have a look at the definition to help us learn more about it. So this is the process of turning old products which are no longer needed into new products which can be used over again. So that's a very handy way of doing things. So let's have a look at how people do recycling as an example. So the couple thought it was very important to recycle as much of their waste as possible. This very much helps protect the environment by throwing away fewer products into landfill sites, which then don't end up into natural habitats. The next word we have for you this week is one that people can identify with and be sure it's the correct person. So, this word is legitimate. So, what does legitimate mean? Well, once again, let's take a look at the definition of legitimate. This is a word which means something is officially known as something or recognized under certain rules. So that's a very interesting definition of legitimate. So let's now look at an interesting example. The girl was delighted to be known as a legitimate student at her university. Her application was recently accepted onto her course at her first choice university. The next word is another food word, and this one is really delicious. So let's have a look at the word we have now. So this is lasagne. Now this is a strange word in the English language as it comes from Italian, as it is Italian food. So let's identify in the definition what it means. So this is sheet pasta, which also includes beef, vegetables, and tomato sauce in many different layers. It also includes cheese. That's great. So let's have a look at an example of lasagna. The man cooked some delicious lasagna for his friends who came to his dinner party. They were disappointed when it was all gone. So now we move on to the penultimate word of this week's lesson. So let's have a look at this one. Well, be careful as it's a little scary. So this word is ferocious. Now that's another interesting sounding word. So let's learn more about this in the definition. This can be something or someone who is known to be very fierce or scary. People should be careful not to make them angry. So there we have it with the definition. So let's find out an example of how someone or something can be ferocious. The students recently visited a zoo and their favorite part was visiting the ferocious lions. Luckily, the lions were all behind bars. The final word we have for you this week is an interesting one, and this one means something is easily done. But what is this word? Well, this word is feasible. So let's look at a more in-depth definition of feasible to learn more about it. This is something which can be done very easily and with little effort. People are often happy to help others complete feasible tasks. So that's very interesting, don't you think? So now let's have a look at an example of feasible. The worker asked his colleague if he could set him up a website. The colleague said this would be feasible and started working on it to get the website set up. Thank you for taking part in this week's lesson. We really appreciate your company. We will be back with more lessons each week to provide you with the most important English words and phrases. Why not check out our website and find out how you can further improve your English with our online self-study courses. We have a free 2-week trial so you can learn exactly how to use our course by the time the trial ends. Feel free to check out our social media feeds to keep up with the latest news. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!